What's up, everybody? Welcome to Move the Sticks. DJ, Bucky, and Baldy back on a Monday. Baldy, before we get to NFL action, which we got a lot of stuff to break down here, you got a little college action on Saturday, huh?
Yeah, I did some double dipping. I did the Texas OU game. I got the offer a couple weeks ago, and I said, I don't care about Sunday. I just want to get to Dallas. And being a Cowboy, being down there in that atmosphere, it's the best week of the year. But honestly, I mean, Archie Manning played great. The best game he's played so far as a young player. But the atmosphere is unreal. The players, the level, talking to Sark before the game. Like there's just nothing like that atmosphere. Half the bowl is 45,000 is Texas, 45,000 is Oklahoma, and they can't be more enthusiastic. So it was just great to be a part of it.
Well, it has to be amazing to watch Texas bounce back from a disappointing loss. We poured dirt on them, and then they come back and knock off a top 10 team in Oklahoma.
Well, it's unbelievable, Buck, because we're going to get to this because it's the same thing on Sunday, but it comes down to coaching. Like they coach those kids up at Texas. Like they got destroyed by Florida the week before. The offensive line was awful. They couldn't have been any better against a really good defensive front in Oklahoma yesterday. And the running back, Quintrevian Wisner, man, that kid's I don't know. He's good player. He just looks like a player, man.
Yeah, they got some dudes. By the way, tomorrow's show, Rhett is going to come in hot after the Hoosiers go into Oregon.
No doubt.
Baldy, I was wearing Oregon gloves on the episode last week. I was making fun of him.
I mean, Dan Lanning's on there with ESPN, like thinking like this thing is going to be a lot of fun.
A lot of victory laps before that game took place. Right. That guy's a stone cold killer. Signetti, have you ever met him or know him at all?
I don't know him, but I can't wait to find out more. I'm just learning. I don't know much about his history, but I'm obviously what he's doing is amazing.
I don't know if you guys got a chance to watch it, but I would say it was one of the best coaching jobs I've seen. In fact, after the game at the handshake, Dan Lanning said, "Man, you guys freaking coach well." It was outstanding. And to think about the quarterback that Cal didn't want him, Mendoza, who bounced around, they end up in Indiana, and he played really well. He had a big pick six that almost cost him, but came right back. And look, man, I hate it because we have to hear about it from Red, but they're a really good football team. They are from top to bottom, well coached, got really good players. The buy-in is great. And my man, who is bodacious, he backs it up.
To do it at school, because it happens at North Carolina, it happens at Duke, it happens at Kentucky. These basketball schools can never get the football thing figured out. And he's doing it at a school that literally is just all basketball. Like it was an afterthought, playing football in Bloomington.
Yeah, no, he's got it rolling. And I got to believe that he made himself a lot of money. Is there anything better if you're his agent to have him win against Oregon, vault to number 3 in the country the same weekend that Penn State fires their head coach? He's getting a lot of money, whether it's from Indiana, Penn State, Florida.
He's got his pick. Whatever job he wants right now, he's going to have his pick.
Yep, he's going to make some cash. All right, let's get to the NFL.
Yeah.
Let's start Sunday night, Detroit, KC. I was flying back, so I watched this morning. But Baldy, I'll tee you up on that one first. Go wherever the heck you want to go on that one.
I took a lot of notes on this game. Mahomes is unreal. We can't stop raving about his ability to see the whole field, to make plays that aren't there. And then they have – I would love to see Andy Reid's playbook because it's got to be the most expansive thing ever. Like he has so many just one-off plays. They start the third quarter. They run this little screen. I hadn't seen him run before to Braden Smith. Like he starts the third quarter. They go right down the field and score to get a drive starter. 2-minute drill at the end of the first half, right down the field. They're down, 10-6, take the lead, get the ball in the third quarter, go right down the field and score. It goes from 13-6 to 20-10 like that. They never surrendered it. I'm not sure how this happens. They didn't have a penalty in the game.
Yeah. It's the first time in a long time that we've seen that.
But you know how many penalties that offense line has been committing and always putting Mahomes in the offense they didn't do any of that. Detroit, the offense is still good. They still do a lot of nice things, but they're lining up defensively right now. DJ, go back and look at your notes on Rock Ya-Sin, Amik Robertson, and Arthur Morlett. Yep. That's their 3 corners that Kansas City attacked.
Not a lot of size there.
Not size. They're just bodies, and so that's what they're stuck with right now. And they just torched them in that game. And the other thing I wanted to say was Travis Kelce looks like he's all the way back. Like all the routes that we're used to seeing him run, the burst, two defenders ready to tackle him right here, the spin away from him, just the feel, in zone coverage. Like he's back. And you said it 2 weeks ago, like when Xavier Worthy went out there, the offense changed 3 weeks in a row right now. This thing is lighting up.
What I found interesting in that game, coming off the heels of watching it up close and personal on Monday night, one, Patrick Mahomes is the ultimate maestro in terms of controlling everything, the way that he'll pick and choose when he uses his legs to buy time or to run. But whenever the Kansas City Chiefs backs are against the wall, it's the same formula. 15 is going to find 87. 87 had a turn back the clock game, 6 catches, led the team. Juju Smith-Schuster was right there. Pat Mahomes is going to go to the guys that he relies on the most. And then he still found a way to keep Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy into it. But he's going to go to his most trusted weapons. And that works for the Kansas City Chiefs. And I say this, man, they can lose a bunch of games, but no one wants them to get into the postseason tournament. Because if they get into the tournament, they know how to win it because Pat Mahomes is going to do whatever it takes to put his team in a position to be there at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it, and I again flying. We didn't have Wi-Fi, so I couldn't. I just found the score when we landed. So then you get home, and then I'm like, I want to look at the box score to inform how I want to look at this game, what I want to study. And I'm looking at the box score. I'm like, Mahomes at 10 carries. Now you go into it, and there's several kneels, so there's some kneel downs in there. But then I start going down this rabbit hole. He's got 38 carries this year. The most he's ever had in his career is 66. He's going to blow that out of the water with how much Mahomes is running this year. They run option down on the goal line, which to me is still, that's the stuff that I did in college. Like that is the best. I don't care what anybody says. I know a tush push is awesome, but when you're in the 2-yard line, there's no better play than speed option. There's nothing because you're getting 2-on-1. So they mix that in there. He's decisive on scrambles. Like that. One of the reasons I think they don't have any holding penalties is because he's not just kind of what he used to do a lot was kind of drift and kind of fade and trying to wait for something to happen. He's just saying, screw it. If it ain't there, I'm going. And he's taking off and running with his legs, Baldy.
Well, one of the things you see from quarterbacks, DJ, when there is pressure, and there wasn't a great deal, but because the line played really well. But when there is pressure, like he never sacks himself. These quarterbacks run into these sacks. We see it every Sunday. But he never, like his awareness and spatial awareness, and like it's second to none. I mean, Brady had it, but Brady couldn't run like Mahomes can run. Like his ability just to know exactly where he's at, find the third or fourth receiver on the move. And that's the other thing is their screen game and the way that they move Mahomes. Like I just wish we'll get to it maybe, but just watching the Jets, throw for minus 10. They didn't throw one screen. They didn't throw. They didn't even dial up one screen the whole game.
Yeah,
and against that pass rush, like the fiercest pass rush, not a screen. And that's all they do is screen and the quick game and the perimeter game. That's 2/3 of what the Chiefs do.
I want to continue that on in one of these other games because I think there's a trend you're seeing with a lot of the smart offensive teams, and I think you touched on a little bit there, Baldy. I want to hit a couple more things before we get to the next game. Shamari Connor had 14 tackles. I went through and watched all that stuff. One of the things in talking to offensive coaches that play against the Chiefs, it said, what's a challenge? What makes them so difficult defensively is they said they hold their water better than any other team. Whatever their late movement is, they will wait till the last second. And they said Spags has basically told their defense, if we get caught because we're too late, it's on me. But I'd rather have you be too late than too early. We're going to hold our water. Another thing is they rely on a lot of flat-footed reads from those shell looks. So you're Shamari Connor, you're at 12, 14 yards. Buck, as you know, man, you're playing back there. He's on his toes, and there is no false stepping. When they run the ball, he is screaming downhill to add to the box count, and he is an excellent tackler, high physical tackler. Again, big-time game from him with 14 tackles. Also had a tackle on a kickoff, which I love seeing. A guy who's playing his guts out on defense is still find a way to go out there and make plays on special teams. So that was another one on the Chiefs side of things. And then Baldy, just because you had mentioned it previously, Jameson Williams got going a little bit. We were watching and waiting for that to happen. Getting him in the quick game that speed is such an advantage to have somebody like that, because not only can you get, crossers and get runaway routes and use his speed, he scores on a dig, but as a quarterback, you just get those now routes anytime you want them because you got to respect the speed. So there's just baked in easy completions for you there if you want them and need them. And
I don't know if you saw it yet. DJ, but at the end of their opening drive to try and tie Kansas City, they had to throw the snap to Montgomery and the throw to Jared Goff.
Yeah, I saw that.
And it was nullified. It honestly, like the rule is a little it's a little obsequious in that if he touches Graham Glasgow, he's got to reset. If he doesn't touch him, he just walks up to the center and then goes out where where he wasn't covered by the Chiefs. You can make the throw and it's a touchdown. So it gets called back and it's a penalty and they end up kicking a field goal. I thought that really hurt him right there.
I didn't know why it was called back because I do remember that as a quarterback, whenever we do that, you say you can't put your hands on anybody. Right. You got to be able to just come up there, keep your hands on your sides. But we used to do it, Baldy, back in the old day, which was just to sneak me over to get the play. Like, hey, I need the play. Come over here, run over to the sideline, sure. and then turn up the field. Hope nobody's with you. Let's get to San Francisco, Tampa Bay. I feel like, man, we give Baker his love on here every week. He just continues to do it at a high level. But I'll start it off here on the defensive side of the ball for Tampa with a couple guys. Diaby had two sacks in this game. And it's so funny. I saw this as a theme, too, going through and watching a lot of sacks reels from the weekend. You see a lot of perimeter guys getting sacks as a result of the car crash from somebody inside. Vita Vea is just like, it's a yard sale with what he's doing. And then it just creates a huge mess. And then you get guys that come in there and clean it up. You watch Seattle, you see it with Leonard Williams. He does the same thing. He creates all kind of a mess, and you see other guys swoop in and clean it up. But Diaby, we talked about him, Buck, in the draft process going back about how, elite burst and get off. And you put him and Reddick on the opposite sides. Like, they got a couple fastballs they can throw at you with those guys. And then the other one was Jacob Parrish is a guy I really liked in the draft. The corner is playing really well for them out of K-State. He is physical and tough. I went back through and was looking through my notes on him. I forgot he ran. He was 5.096, 191. So just under 5'10", ran 4.35. And on my notes, I'm looking at him like outside, compact, muscled up, and fast. He can open, turn, and explode, plays with excellent effort. He'll take on guards. He's an awesome tackler in space. Everything he does is very firm and sure. And then you see this game, you watch him fill up in the hole against Christian McCaffrey, and it's just like Christian McCaffrey's a strong dude, Baldy. He hits him, it's a stalemate. He ain't going anywhere.
I remember during training camp, Jason Light hit me up with a text saying that he thought Jacob Parrish was not just the best rookie. He thought he was the best defensive player in training camp and throughout preseason because he can play. Obviously, he can play inside, but he can play outside. Yeah. And he's a great tackler, as you're just pointing out. But he thought he was the best defensive player through training camp.
Yeah, he's been awesome.
He has been awesome, and I give Todd Bowles a lot of credit because they have gotten the right pieces to fit that defensive puzzle. We talk about the right kind of DBs that are physical on the perimeter, that can blitz, that can bring a bunch of different things, and it allows them to continue to expand. Because I'll say this, knowing Todd, there's not a blitz that he hasn't found it that he won't put into game plan, and he'll attack you with it. So I love their aggressiveness while still trying to retain the safeness of being in a zone. But on offense, man, this offense, when they get their weapons back, they didn't have a Booker for a big part of the game. Like, he's going to be out for a little bit. I was like, you're going to have to wait on him for a little bit.
Did either one of you know who Cameron Johnson is?
Yeah. Is he a rookie?
He's a free agent. He was a free agent, but I think he was in the league last year. But I mean, Ibuka goes out, Cameron Johnson comes in, Baker's throwing it to him, for one big play after another. Not to mention Tez Johnson.
How about Tez?
Man? It's amazing that guys that size can still be this impactful in this league. I don't know if you can even see him down the field, but he's unbelievable. Cameron Johnson, I'm like, who is this guy? And it's like one of those things you have to stop and you're like, okay, got to go look this up. Like, where'd he come from? But they've been shorthanded all year. And Baker, it was 3rd and 14 yesterday, and Bryce Huff and Mykal Williams, they've got him sacked for a 10-yard loss. And I don't know how he got out of it. But not only did he get out of it, he broke 2 tackles and then extended the ball. This is a 2019 game. Like, this is like 49ers get the ball back there. Who knows what's going to happen? And he just makes one incredible play after another.
How about Dallas, Carolina, Buck? This one, man, Carolina, I feel like every time with Bryce and with Carolina and that team, everybody, it's over and you got to figure this thing out. And then he survives, but man, he got a nice aid from his running back, Rico Dowdle. That was the pissed off game for him coming back to Dallas. Holy cow.
Woo. Man, you talk about being peed off, being able to come back and
He said it was he said they better buckle up. And they asked him after the game, and he said, yep, no, they didn't buckle up.
I mean, what was crazy is because I kind of treated the big game that he had last week as a one-off. Like, man, can he really replicate it? But motivation and adrenaline can go a long way. Terrific game for him. Had over 180 yards, 30 carries, kind of stabilized the rushing attack. And what we're seeing with Bryce Young, if you get the run game going, it just frees him up to be able to play effectively off reaction or without duress because everyone is focused on the rushing attack. And man, the Panthers, as soon as you're ready to pour dirt on them, here they come again. It's the cat that has 9 lives, sitting at 3-3. And I don't know if any of us legitimately thought that the Panthers would already have 3 wins by this point of the season.
Well, I went back and watched his runs, and you got to give credit. Brady Christensen playing right guard, Cade Mays, backup center, and there's been played great last year, playing great right now. Like that group up front, Damian Lewis is an absolute beast, but they're playing without Robert Hunt, probably their best offensive lineman. But like the way that they're running, whether it's toss crack right now or running power, it was impressive. Now he broke a bunch of tackles, and they blocked the safety in the hole, and the tight ends were really involved with it. But that was impressive. The other side, though, they shut down Javonte Williams, who had a great week the week before. And I don't know if there's a defensive tackle playing better than Derek Brown this league. I mean, he's just a man-child inside right now, possessed. But Ashawn Robinson, like you look at the whole group, Pat Jones, like they're playing really well in the trenches on that team right now. And it's been going on for the last month. I know they got off to a rocky start. The quarterback has some deficiencies, but, and then, Tet Mack, caught the 2 touchdown passes. And, one of them he had to uncover for Bryce to find, which was a big play. I thought they took the Cowboys apart.
Yeah, I knew you guys would hit the running back stuff. That's why I wanted to watch the Bryce stuff because I was curious on that. And I'll bring this back to the discussion we were having a little bit earlier because I felt like in going through a lot of these games, really the last couple of weeks, I feel like there's some trends you're starting to see over and over again with the smart teams and how they're playing. When you look at Bryce, when you're under center, you're seeing play action, and that's when we can try and get the ball down the field. And a lot of times that's accompanied with 12 personnel, and they've got 2 tight ends in there. So we're going to go under center. We're going to protect it, and it's going to clear up the looks down the field because you're going to get more single high stuff, and you're going to be able to find your one-on-ones and go. And then when they're in the gun, it's a mixture of quick game. We're in the gun. We're getting the ball out quick. It's a mixture of moving the pocket from the gun, and then there's some screens. It's just getting the ball out to, tight end screens, perimeter screens, getting the ball out. And I feel like, we were talking at referencing the Jets earlier, Baldy, not throwing a screen. And I'm like, man, I saw it, and we'll get to the Charger game here in a little bit, but I saw it with them. You're down all these offensive linemen. Well, here's what we're going to do. If we want to get the ball vertical, we're going to get under center. We're going to play with multiple tight ends, and we're going to help those guys out. We'll take our shots. When we're just in the gun, we're not going to be in the same launch point and sit back there and hold the ball all day long. You're going to get killed. Yep. So I feel like you're seeing the smart teams play this very similar brand of football.
You have to do it, DJ. You have to do it. Like these teams that just want to play shotgun football right now, even in the power running game on short yardage and goal line, when you got to get a yard, because the bad teams can't make a yard. They don't know how to do it. They still don't believe they really, and outside of the Eagles doing a tush push, you see the good teams know how to gain a yard, short yardage goal line when they need a yard. And the bad teams still continue to just screw that play up.
To me, like that's the kind of game that Bryce Young, like we used to always talk about trucks and trailers. Like he is not a truck. He's not going to pull the team, but he's a functional trailer. If you got all the other pieces, you can win games with the way he plays because he makes good decisions. He's playing with poise. He can get the ball kind of distributed where it needs to go. He's not going to overwhelm you with physicality. But again, it's like a 200-ish yard game. He's going to get you some touchdowns, and that with the run game that they have and the way that they're playing up front on defense. I know Dak carved him up in the back end, but they can be a 500 team. That's the formula for them to be a 500 team, and maybe obviously be a game over because we have 17 games now.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a path for them. I think they found a blueprint and identity in doing so. And as you talk about Bryce Young, being able to understand exactly who he is and how he has to play within the confines of this team. And that means more managerial than playmaker, but he is okay with that because his skill set, to me, strikes me as more of a game manager than a playmaker. So if he leans into that and allows the other guys to work and they play complementary ball with him kind of directing and understanding what his role is, they can win a lot of games with a quarterback.
All right. See if you guys are with me on this. I'm going to request that we have a funeral right now, real quick.
Okay.
I'm gonna and Baldy, I'm gonna refer to this as it's gonna sound weird, the butt funeral. Okay. Because when it comes to Sam Darnold, I'm done with the butts. Oh, but we'll see but the playoff game. Come on, man. Like at some point in time, even if you've been the harshest Sam Darnold critic, this is a long run that he's on right now playing elite football. And they got a big win. Buck, you were there in Jacksonville. Buck, I'll kick it to you since you're in the building. But let's just stop. Sam Darnold's playing a position as well as anybody in the league right now.
Yeah, he is. And I got to say, there was a healthy amount of respect for him coming into the game. Liam Cohen talked about him, lavished praise on him in terms of how talented he is and how far he's come as a player. Field level, one, I got to say this, man, it's an offense that's well constructed. It's one where early in the game, they're trying to run the ball and do some things, but Baldy knows this. DJ, you've been around it enough to know. Baldy, you remember in yesteryear when you were practice, and if there was a guy that they were going to target in the secondary, they'd put a yellow penny on him. So he had the yellow jersey on, and you would know that there were a handful of plays that were designed.
Call Waldo.
Yeah. So DJ.
Did he go after Emerson?
No. Greg Newsome comes in.
I'm sorry.
But wait a minute. He comes in, and I think it's doing a break or a timeout. And so he trots onto the field, and he's standing along their sideline while it's a break. And I'm from far, but you can already see they break the huddle, and JSN runs some kind of route that's a post, and he catches, and he is pulling away from Newsome. And I'm like, man, first play, you don't even let him like stretch or do anything. They throw a bomb right over his head. And it was the beauty of watching the first 5 completions that Sam Darnold had all went to Jackson Smith and Jigba. It wasn't great early. And then the second half, the first 2 are the Cooper Kupp. Big play. And then they finish it with a cute little bootleg throwback to A.J. Barner to win it. And it's these explosive plays that they script and dial up that Clint Kubiak got from his dad's playbook. And it's just, and you just looking at it like, oh, man.
Have you seen his yards per attempt? Like, the yards per attempt for Darnold, he's at 9.6. He's freaking almost 10 yards an attempt.
It's shot zone. It's pit bull. Shot. It's all the time. And like I'm sitting there on the sideline, like I cannot believe that Sam Darnold is dropping these bombs. But JSN is everything that we talked about last week. He is unbelievable as a route runner. He has it. And I mean, route running, patience, precision. It's great that Cooper Kupp is there, but there is no doubt the ball is going to Jackson Smith and Jigba when they need one.
When Kubiak's offense is rolling, man, it's a symphony, and it all goes together. It all flows together. It's I would think, DJ, it's a quarterback's dream to play in that offense right now. Now, Sam has got exceptional skills and allows him to play at a very consistent level week in, week out. But he's in the right offense right now, and he's got the right playmakers around him. It's funny, like you're talking about Newsome, how they went right after him. Aaron Rodgers did the same thing to Tyson Campbell. It was like, that's the new guy. Yeah. We're going to put DK on the new guy, and we'll go right after him, and that's what they did.
Yeah, the trade lose so far on that trade. Couple nuggets on the defensive side of the ball. I mentioned earlier, Leonard Williams still continues just to create a mess back there. Chinna Nwosu rushed with a lot of physicality. He had a sack and a half. It's nice to have him back healthy this year. That's again, we talk about every week. Seattle's got a really, really good front, and then seeing Nicky Manwari, the rookie, seeing how they were going to use him. He had 9 tackles in a TFL, lot of stuff near the line of scrimmage. Reminds me of the Florida State linebacker with the long arms. It was with Jacksonville, right, Buck? This is going back.
Oh, talking about Telvin Smith?
Telvin Smith, yes. Like I got some Telvin Smith vibes from Eamon, kind of like down there in the line of scrimmage. Looks like kind of a pterodactyl, just looks big and rangy and long. And he kind of buzz underneath some things. He gets off blocks. He plays physical. He's kind of finding a little spot there in a role. So good to see on the Seattle side of things. And I know they just played each other. And I know Detroit's not going anywhere, but man, I was watching that game, and I had just watched the Tampa game, and I'm sitting there going, is that going to be the NFC Championship game rematch? Is it going to be Tampa and Seattle? I don't know if anybody's playing better than those two teams right now.
Maybe. I mean, good. And I'm going to say this because it's one thing to talk about Seattle's front. It's another thing to feel it when you're on the field level. DJ, they dominated the point of attack to the point going into the game. I think the Jags had only surrendered maybe 3 or 4 sacks, not many sacks. They gave up 7. And it started with they were bringing pressure early. And then it was a 4-man rush that was just like a boa constrictor.
Byron Murphy's a good player,
just
man.
Squeezing.
Ron Reed right now.
I mean, just squeezing the pocket. And Byron Murphy didn't get enough love in the draft process. He's explosive and dynamic. Leonard Williams is certainly the point on the sword. DeMarcus Lawrence is a veteran with savvy or whatever. You talk about you also on the edge. Man, they are good on defense. And they're kind of like one of those best kept secrets in terms of we're going to look up and they're going to be there at the end and everyone's going to be like, oh, this is a really good front. They're not LOB, the Legion of Boom, but man, they are a dominant front line.
Will that surprise you, Baldy? If that ended up being the NFC Championship game when it was all said and done, will that surprise you?
All right now, I mean, look at the quarterback. You look at the quarterback play. You look at the defense. You look at the ability to affect the other team's quarterback. Mike McDonald's going to sit there in those matchup, zones of his, and they're just going to match you with your route combinations. Just sit on top of you, make the quarterback hold the ball, and that's what leads to a lot of sacks like he had in Baltimore, and it's starting to come right now. I feel like Imamwari is going to be a lot like Kyle Hamilton, and there's going to be that multiple chess piece with him and his range and the things that he can do. I mean, you could just see what they did in Baltimore 2 years ago being built defensively right now in Seattle.
Don't need to spend a long time here, but it was a big win for the Chargers. They almost let one get away down there in Miami. But when you win a game and you're playing with your 5th and 6th offensive tackle, Bobby Hart right off the street, starting at right tackle, found out just before the game that Jamari Sawyer was not going to play. So you're down your top 4 tackles. So you end up with Austin Deculus at left, Bobby Hart at right. They did a lot of what I was talking about earlier, where it's just 12 and 22 personnel. Yep. They had 2 backs out there with Tucker Fisk kind of as that big fullback. They ran the ball really well with Kamani Vidal after the injuries. They've lost their top 2 backs. He goes for $124.
Has he ever had a day like that?
No, he had more yards in that game than he's had so far in his early career as a rookie last year. But you think about that. I'm watching that game. First of all, I want to give real quick. Trey Harris, the rookie receiver, who was a former quarterback at Mississippi, really good receiver. If you just went and watched a cut up of all their explosive runs with all their backs this year, Trey Harris is freaking lead blocking on almost all of them. Like, he is out there as a rookie. He is blocking his tail off out there on the perimeter. So something to keep an eye on with him. Why
is Miami's run defense so bad?
They misfit everything. They misfit everything.
All these guys up front that they've drafted. I mean,
these linebackers are bad, and they misfit. And you could see Kamani Vidal when you watch the explosive Baldy. You'll see him kind of fit up into the line of scrimmage. He'll wait, make the linebacker commit, just bounce. And they've got multiple guys in gaps, and there's freaking gaping holes everywhere else. So, here you go. Gavin put it in the chat. 4 explosive runs, tied for the most by any Charger in a game over the last 3 seasons for Vidal. So a good performance for him. But I was thinking about Joe Ortiz, second year there. That first draft, if you look at it, Joe Alt in the first round has played at an all-pro level when he's been out there. You look at McConkey, he's been as good as any receiver in that draft class. You've got 2 starting corners and Tarheeb Still, who's really good, and Cam Hart's been out there playing. Then you got Vidal. Then you got Vidal out here doing this. That's a heck of a first draft there in 2024. But Miami, the Boo Birds were out. They still found a way. They get a big touchdown from Tua late to take the lead. But the other thing, Buck, I'll get you to on this one was one of the kind of cool stories from the weekend for me. Naheem Hines out there. It's been over 1,000 days since he's played an NFL game. And he has a kickoff return after the go-ahead touchdown, takes him to the 40. Like that, they started their drive at the 40 because of his kick return. The guy hadn't played a game in over 1,000 days. So hats off to him. And he even tweeted out, like, everybody thought my career was over. It's a kind of a cool story.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it's really cool because he's from the hometown. And I had a chance to talk to him this summer about that unfortunate accident. Jet skis, bounce back, has to work his way back into it. But then for him to come out of those, as he told me, those dark days, to have an opportunity to fix it, man, what a great story. And I knew he was going to have an opportunity. And so hats off to him for getting it done. I think the big story that came out of there is Tua calling out all the teammates afterwards. And we talk a lot about ball and a lot about the things that happen on the field, but it's clear that something in Miami off the field is not working. When you talk about people being perpetually late, late to meetings, late to practice, those were the reports that came out last year, and a lot of times it was their best players. And then when Tua's talking about people being late to player-led meetings and functions and film sessions and dinners and all this, man, there's something that is wrong. And I am a believer that when you're in a place like Miami that has all the trappings of the city, the program has to be edgier, has to be tougher and tighter and more disciplined in detail than lax. And it is clear and apparent that that's not the program to have, which is why they have not been able to consistently win.
Baldy, you're grinning right there. You're
well,
got a
AJ,
look on your face.
I know South Florida. Like I see these guys out in the casinos, on Friday. Like I don't want to name any names, but like there is just way too much distractions. Like it's been going on forever. I mean, it was going back when Shula was there, and any coach, Jimmy Johnson. Like it's just too good.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if they could ever really turn it around.
Tough one. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
People have always said that about two places, by the way. They've always said it would be hard to win consistently in Miami and Atlanta. Atlanta is the other one because of the nightlife that, gets mentioned a lot.
Dallas can be thrown in there a little bit.
Yeah, Dallas too. But
long drought.
But I think you have to account and bake some things into the cake to do it. So if I'm at Miami, Atlanta, those places where I know life is prevalent, the day starts earlier. You're in the building at 7:00. You're having things where you either can curb it or you can clearly see who's been going out because you can't sustain it going out, getting up early, practicing hard and doing those things. Shoot, man, when the Rams came to LA, they had to flip the schedule with Sean McVay because guys were enjoying the nightlife in Hollywood. There's things that you have to do to help the players help themselves. And clearly, they're not doing that in Miami right now.
When a dignitary goes overseas and he's in a foreign country and they have the interpreter there interpreting. Like I feel like when Mike McDaniel just starts rambling, at any press conference, you need somebody to kind of filter the whole thing to what is he really saying here? Because it's not always translatable. I don't know where he's going. Some of these. I was sitting up there. We were kind of waiting to go downstairs to get on the bus, and so there's still a bunch of people that weren't at the press conference, kind of in the media area, up in the press box, and the post game was on up there, and it reminded me of. I remember somebody used this phrase one time about somebody's train of thought that they left their driveway, turned their GPS off, and it's just. You don't know where you're going. Where is this thing? Where is this thing going? Are we going to find our way back home here when this is all said and done? It was rambling, to say the least. Let's whip through a few more games, Baldy, and we'll get you on your way here. Arizona, Indy, man, the Fighting Colts just keep it rolling. I tell you what, I watched that game. If you're just a fan of good offense, watch the Colts. I mean, every phase of the game. And now, like this Josh Downs, the North Carolina kid, slot receiver, he's got a real role in this offense. Tyler Warren, the offense goes through him right now. He's been awesome. I mean, he has been we knew he was going to be a good player, DJ, but the way that they use him, he's the F-back. He's a wing tight end. He's split out. He's split in the slot. And I'll say this. If you don't have a tight end delay in your offense, you're not playing offense in this league. Does every tight end that delays and then releases late, do they get the ball and get it's unreal what they're doing with them. But he's Daniel Jones is the story. They could easily be undefeated right now, but that offense is humming. And Jonathan Taylor's running as well as he did when he won the rushing title right now. And I'll say this about Quentin Nelson. Zeke used to say this about Zach Martin in Dallas. No matter where the play starts, it used to end up behind Zach Martin. Wherever the play starts, it ends up behind Quentin Nelson right now. He's playing as well as he's ever played. And it's really, and that Bortolini, the whole group up front is playing really, really good as a group.
Yeah, I'm really impressed, man, just with the Colts. Look, they are a team that is built the right way. Not quite ready to call them title contenders, but when you look at the way they can put the pieces of the puzzle together, offensively, they have a dominant running game with Jonathan Taylor. Danny Dimes is playing terrific as a distributor. They have weapons on the outside in the passing game, but it starts with Tyler Warren, Dennis, the others that can get it done. And then Lou Anarumo on defense is a mad scientist concocting crazy schemes that befuddles play callers and quarterbacks. Man, as they continue to gain confidence, there is a path for the Colts to be a team that is a headache to have to deal with in the postseason.
I think the conference is wide open right now. I mean, they're in a great spot. I'm excited to study them this week, Baldy, because they come out here to play the Chargers. So that'll be a fun one to really dig in and watch that offense. On the defensive side of the ball, Kwity Paye had a couple sacks. He's a good player. They are fast and physical up front. We've talked about it all the time. Chris Ballard is big on traits, and they look like a long, fast,
Buckner is playing as well, and that
he's
three
huge.
technique as he's ever played.
Yeah,
like he looks, and you watch him warm up before the game. I saw him a couple weeks ago against the Rams. He looks ageless. I don't know what year he's now. He's probably like 9, somewhere around there. But there's no slowdown in his game right now.
Remember, we used to talk about edge rushers and go, man, you really want to get somebody on the opposite side so it'll take some attention away from him. I feel like now, if I'm a premier edge rusher, man, park me next to a big time DT. Yep. I'd rather have a big time DT than to have somebody on the other side. As you see, everybody's able to. You can play off of him. You can play off of all the damage that they do inside there. Cincinnati, Green Bay. I feel confident that we nailed this one because we said whether or not it was Jameis or Joe Flacco, ain't going to get the Bengals into the playoffs, but they get Jamar Chase into the Pro Bowl. So that's on target here. 10 for 94 for Jamar Chase in this one. I'll go to the Green Bay side of things. I know, with rookie quarterbacks, with rookie players, to me, it's always about two things. It's about the flashes. Like, can you see the flashes of what you hoped you're going to see? And then are they just getting better as the season goes along? And it was big news there in Green Bay when they took a receiver in the first round. And now you're seeing it now. This is 3 weeks in a row with Matthew Golden having a catch over 30 yards. He had 3 for 86 in this game. He's given them some big plays. And it doesn't necessarily – they hit a go ball to him, but he's also giving you some of that juice and burst and pop after the catch. So I like what I've seen from him. I think you're going to see his role continue to just climb as the season goes along, Baldy.
Well, they were, I remember last year, Coach was saying that, he doesn't believe in having a number one wide receiver and all this. And then they get to the playoffs last year and they don't have any receivers and nobody's making a play. And now Matthew Golden is there and you're like, okay, now there's a pecking order. This is where it's going to start. We can go through all the guys that have been hurt and we know who all they are. But they needed a guy for Jordan Love to go to right now and to get the big plays off of those play action fakes and under center and the fakes right now to Josh Jacobs and whatnot to get the ball down the field. And they're able to do that.
Buck, anything? Cincinnati. I don't think they're going to be able to keep this thing afloat before Joe Burrow.
I think the main thing was more so on the Packers thing. And I think it was funny that you brought up the Matthew Golden thing, not only the catches, but the fact that they had 2 carries and attempts. And as they're beginning to narrow the focus, I think people have to understand with the Packers, with the Micah trade and all this, there's a lot of new pieces and expectations that are coming together. Having the bye week to kind of reset and recalibrate, we saw a much better version of that. But I will say this, their defense hasn't even scratched the potential on what they could become. What we saw yesterday was Adrian Cooper and Quay Walker have impacts in terms of being sideline to sideline chasers. As Micah Parsons begins to command more attention from people, you can see some of their lesser names, some of their first round talents emerge and play at that blue chip level. So the Packers are going to be the team that you talk about. Don't judge them by how they played the first half of the season. Judge them by how they play down the stretch when everything kind of clicks together.
Yeah, there's a lot of dudes there on the defensive side of the ball. Last one, Baldy, Tennessee, Vegas. You were at that one, right?
Yeah. Well, I think the only team the Raiders could have beaten yesterday was Tennessee. Honestly, I know Brock Bowers isn't there, and that's a big loss, huge loss from a playmaker standpoint. But I have no idea what Chip Kelly's doing and how they're getting this done. There's clearly a disconnect between, I think, Chip and Gino and what Pete want to do. They had that game won and sewed up, and Tennessee wasn't going anywhere. And they're putting the ball in the air when they don't need to put the ball in the air, and it gets intercepted because that's what Gino does right now. But he gets completely blasted by Jeffrey Simmons, who
he's playing really well, by the way. It gets hidden on that team, man. But
he's the one guy on that whole team that just shows up. And he lost some weight this offseason. Talked to him before the game, he's just he's something else. I'll say this: the highlight of the game was Eric Allen is going to the Hall of Fame. this year, and I played with him in Philly. But Mark Davis brought back all the Raider Hall of Famers.
Hall of Famers.
Nice.
And so there's I mean, it was Tim Brown's over here, and here's James Lofton, and any guy that had a Raider uniform. There's Eric Dickerson, and we're talking about our days at Indianapolis. I mean, that to me was the highlight of the day. Just all the gold jackets down there on the field, and even like at James Lofton, he's like, Baldy, they'll treat me like I'm a 20-year veteran of the Raiders here.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is great. I mean, it was fun, pretty fun to see.
That's cool. San Diego guy, man.
Yeah, EA, my teammate. In fact, that was the reason I went to the Raiders. I was there because Eric Allen tore his ACL. And so I came into Oakland to replace him and playing with him and Woodson and those guys. But I will say that, Baldy, your experience as you relate to the Raiders, that is what it's always been. When they talk about once a Raider, always a Raider, like that is something that the late Al Davis took seriously. And his son, Mark, has certainly picked it up. And, ooh, boy.
That's cool to see.
I tell you, this is not a great thing. Titans fired Brian Callahan. Not great.
Whoa.
Well, we're just talking about Tennessee, and it's awful. It's just awful.
So, Baldy, you know what I was going to hit on that? Cam Ward, 6 sacks, 25 on the year. And I went back, and a lot of times you'll see it with young quarterbacks. You see like a high sack total, and we mentioned it like with Justin Fields. Like Justin Fields, you watch a lot of his sacks throughout his career. A lot of it is him just patting the ball, holding the ball, and burping the ball, whatever phrase you want to use. I watched this one, Baldy. I went through and watched the sacks of Cam Ward, and it was 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, top of the draft. Oh my gosh, freaking car crash back there. I was getting PTSD just watching the sack reel. I'm like, I don't know what the heck he's supposed to do here. This ain't the rookie problem.
But I mean, you got J.C. Latham out there at right tackle who's missed the last month against Max, and like there's no help, there's no chip. He's just coming, and he's beating him off the snap. And then I don't know what Tennessee was doing when they signed Dan Moore. I don't know what tape they watched in Pittsburgh to say he's going to be my left tackle to protect my rookie quarterback. I talked to Cam before the game. He's a great kid, and like he could have a very good future. But I mean, he's thrown to all rookies out there, and the line isn't protecting him. It was just hard to watch.
To me, it goes back to an interesting discussion, which is, Buck, we've said this for years, right? If you ask the young quarterback, would you rather have a great offensive line or great weapons? Young quarterbacks, I'd rather have a great offensive line. You ask an older quarterback, they'd rather have the weapons because they have the answers to the test and they can have solutions to problems to get the ball out to their weapons. But to me, when you put these young quarterbacks out there and then you're not good on the offensive line, I mean, they still have pups on the outside. I'm not saying they've got great receivers either. They don't really have a whole lot of anything. But, man, you're not going to have much of a chance to be successful with a young quarterback and a bad offensive line. It's not going to work.
No, it's the first thing that you have to do. I mean, look, man, your coach Jim Harbaugh talked about, like, you can consider the offensive line to be weapons because they're the only position that makes the entire team better, offense, defense, or whatever. And when you're going to invest in the number 1 overall pick in Cam Ward, you have to make sure that he's protected because you have no chance if you don't protect him. And look, man, that horrible offensive line and everything else around him was just never going to be good enough.
Well, we've seen this. I mean, we're talking about this is the year of the reclamation quarterback, whether it's Baker or Sam, or whatever. And here you are, like he's 6 weeks into his career, and the coach, the play caller, the head coach who just relinquished the play calling, is gone. Now you got the interim guy coming in. So there's just going to be more change. Like he could be one of these guys that is not going to have success in Tennessee, but he might have it because he's got an unbelievable ability to just torque the ball. He can throw it from anywhere. He's got ability, and he's bigger than I think what anybody thinks he is. He's got good size to him, but man, that's unfortunate for him.
Baldy, let me ask you a quick question, and then we'll wrap it up on this one. But I was thinking about, as we're starting to see some coaching openings pop in the college, there's going to be a ton of them. I mean, they're saying this might be the busiest college hiring cycle we've seen in a decade. Like major jobs. But I was trying to think of, okay, if we get to the NFL level, some of these college guys with everything going on there might want to come up a level. And I'm looking at that research packet from last week or whatever it was that said 6. Well, I guess one of them wouldn't have been with Lincoln Riley. So I guess 5 starting quarterbacks in the NFL, 5 of the 6 Oklahoma guys Lincoln Riley had his hands on. Yeah. And USC's kind of got some players now, and they're playing better football. Big win against Michigan. And I was like, the Titans, I mean, golly, that wouldn't be a bad idea to kick the tires on maybe Lincoln Riley coming in there to work with somebody like Cam Ward.
Lincoln Riley, I'd take David Elko, Texas.
What about
A&M. Sark? I mean, what Sark did, in 1 week is amazing. That guy just is. That guy's locked in, man. People follow that guy. He's something else. He's pretty special. But I can see guys making the jump for sure.
I'm telling you, everybody better buckle up. If you're a college football fan or NFL fan, I think you're going to see massive college openings. I think you're going to see some NFL openings, and I think you're going to see the train going up and the train going down in terms of college guys going up to the NFL and some NFL guys going down to college. It's going to be wild. I mean, that's going to be the story of the offseason. I think it's going to be all this coaching carousel stuff. Baldy, always love Mondays, buddy. You're the best. Appreciate you.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Buck. Always fun to catch up with Baldy on these episodes. But yeah, breaking news, huh? I was talking to some folks the other day about the potential college openings. And I mean, Buck, it is. And you start getting into what happens when you have some of the primo and look, Penn State's already open. Everybody assumes Florida's going to be open. We're talking about Auburn potentially being open. You've already got Virginia Tech, Stanford, Cal. Like that's already a good number of schools. But when you get someone like the Floridas and the Penn States, what happens is they don't go looking for the hot coordinator. They're taking a big time coach from somebody else. So then it just keeps the cycle just keeps spinning and spinning and spinning. So yeah, we could see a crazy offseason ahead.
Man, I can't wait to talk about it because DJ, this is the wildest time that I've ever seen in the football landscape when it comes to coaching. The volatility that exists now is unlike anything that we've ever seen. So you talk about the train going both ways, up and down and all this other stuff. There are always coaches to fill the seats, but man, when it comes to quality coaches for taking over some of these quality programs and it's gonna be tough.
It's a good time to get re-upped. You know, I don't know if you saw I saw somebody ask Matt Rule about it, and hey, Agent 101. I don't care if you're in your dream job, you got kids in school. There's a 0.0% chance you're leaving. You know how you answer that question? I don't talk about other jobs. I like where I am. I don't mention it. You know, you don't come out and say I'm not taking that job because you know what that does? That keeps you from getting a nice little bump in your current spot. So even if you have no intention of leaving, you're very vague. Keep that thing very vague.
I love my alma mater. I love my alma mater. You know, that's it.
Yeah. No, always want them to be successful. I'm happy where I am. So, Coach, you gonna tell me that you would not leave? You know, I don't talk about other jobs. I don't.
Happy right now. I'm just trying to get a win.
Work this week. Yep, we got a tough game this week. That's where my focus is.
Yep.
We're gonna have some fun with Red on that tomorrow. Oh man, he is gonna be something tomorrow.
Insufferable.
Yeah, I think so. I think he is. But hey, I got to give it to him, man. I give it up to him. Hoosiers, man, rolling. We'll give him his flowers tomorrow. We'll give Red his flowers tomorrow.
Don't bring the gloves.
No, I'm gonna leave the gloves in the drawer. I think I might be getting some IU gloves. He asked for my address. Either that or he's gonna send me some hate mail. One of the two. All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow right here on Move the Sticks.